Your story matters, don't let it fade. When everything changed, you were made.
Welcome back to One Stories Radio Network. I'm Wendy Babcock, and today I'm joined with Rhonda Deaver. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Excited to talk to you. We've been connected for quite a while, and of course, I know a lot about you, but tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what do you do?
Oh, let's see. I am Rhonda Deaver, and my biggest goal in life is to empower women. And I kind of started with a floral shop that I owned a while ago, and that really helped introduce me into a lot of people's lives and different things. So it kind of grew from there and friendships, and then meeting Wendy and a lot of the other women kind of just kept growing it to now I use Mary Kay as my platform, so to speak, as far as all the materials and the products, and loving actually creating that community that I got to experience when I joined Mary Kay.
And I love that you position it that way because it's not that, I mean, yeah, we all buy makeup or whatever, but it's the purpose behind it that you stand in, right? The confidence walking into the room, how we feel about ourselves. And then some of those things that we can do to just kind of start the day off better. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like with getting into Mary Kay, what did you learn or when did you learn it's not just about makeup?
It is never about makeup. It is always about your confidence of yourself and believing in yourself. And what I learned working with clients and myself was every morning I'd get up and I would go into the bathroom and I'd wash my face. And then you're looking in the mirror and you're kind of like, you can go either one way or the other. You can like trash yourself or you can build yourself up. And I started learning with women that when they continued to do that, they were building themselves up. They were feeling empowered on themselves, and it reflected in their everyday life. And with whatever tasks that they had to deal with, they were getting the confidence and willing to step out and be the presence that they need to be in their life. So that's really what Mary Kay and your skincare and taking care of yourself is building yourself up so that you can go and handle everything else.
I love that because I think to my own journey with makeup, like I learned from my mom, who's a boomer, right? So had the blue eyeshadow for a long time. And I actually was a representative for Mary Kay back when I was 22, I want to say. So, I mean, I love the products too. And, back then it was more about the makeup for me. And it wasn't until I got older that became about skincare. And I never realized because I remember having somebody ask me, this wasn't that long ago, it's a little embarrassing, like probably 3, 4 years ago. Well, what do you use for your skincare? I'm like, I don't even wash my makeup off at night, is what was my response. Right, right. Yeah. And so she's like, what? Like, yeah. So she's like, maybe you should maybe start. I'm like, wash my face maybe in the shower, but like my routine in the morning was get up, take off my makeup my from the night before. So it's not even like a full cleansing, nothing, just literally makeup wipes, take it off, reapply, nothing else. And what I've learned in the process of taking care of, especially as you get older, I always say start younger than I did.
Oh,
Because
yes.
once you get to the 50s, you're like, dang it, I wish I would have known and done better when I was younger. But I do notice, like, when I take the time to do the cleanser and the toner, all the things, I feel better. And that's got nothing to do with the makeup. I
Mm-mm.
always thought it was the makeup that was like, that's why I feel good. But it really is the stuff that you do first.
Yeah. When I first started with Mary Kay, and I would tell people that I'm a Mary Kay rep or ask them or invite them to a facial, it always amazed me how they flip to makeup. Oh, I don't wear makeup, or oh, I don't, whatever. And it's like, it's really not about makeup. At the time when I started, I actually didn't really want to do makeup because I didn't have much knowledge of makeup, but I did know skincare. And I did know that if you have healthy skin and you feel good about it, you can put anything you want on it and it's going to look
Mm,
fabulous. And so
yeah.
then let's start with the basic platform, just like an artist, a clean canvas, and then you can build from there and create the art. And that's kind of what our face is. It shows what you do and you don't do. You know, when you
Oh, for
eat really
sure.
greasy food, it really comes out in your face.
Yeah.
So,
Or if you use the wrong products, right? If you don't use
yes.
quality. So can you talk a little bit about Mary Kay and where they are as far as quality of their products?
Their quality is European standard, not American standard. European is a lot higher standards with the skincare, and obviously nothing is tested on animals or anything. And it's all made in the United States. They have a plant in Dallas, Texas, and that is where things are created. And they stand behind it. It's 100% guarantee. And so if working with a client or customer or working with a consultant, if you try something and it just doesn't work with your skin type, we can always try something different. And the great thing about Mary Kay's products that you don't get in the other market is they're sisters. So whatever you use in one line will work with each other. They won't combat each other. So if you have products from A and you have products from B, sometimes the war zone is your face because your face doesn't like it. And with Mary Kay, you don't have that. They all work together. Some are better for your face and, you know, some are just
Yeah.
average. So,
Yeah. One of my favorite products actually that Mary Kay has is the oh crap, I forgot the name of it. It's the hand stuff.
oh,
The
yep.
that's it's not Skin So Soft. That's the wrong, totally wrong brand, everything. That's not the right one.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
yeah.
it is that. Oh my, now you have me
Why did I do
unlocked.
that? Now we're both gonna be like wrecking our brains. What is this thing? Because it's like a three or four step process.
Yes,
And
satin
I
hands.
love satin hands. Thank you. Yes. I love satin hands. You
I
know,
It's amazing. Satin hands is great. It's fabulous for female, especially if you do like all the systems. I will
hmm
also tell you it is fabulous for men, and especially if they work with their hands. My husband is a woodworker and his hands are drier than
Oh,
sandpaper. So he uses that lotion. So then I
yeah.
allow him to touch me because I don't like sandpaper. So
Right.
it's very versatile for everybody, depending on what you're doing.
And it smells phenomenal too. Where it's not overpowering, so it's even good for men because it's not
Oh
like a
no.
flowery, whatever sort of smell. It feels very clean and just oh gosh, now I want to go do it. I've got it sitting in my kitchen too. Every now and then I feel like it's a
Exactly.
treat, you know. That's what I do
Yep.
is every now and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do my satin hands.
And that's the great thing of keeping it at your kitchen sink, your bathroom sink, so that when you think of it or see it, then you can quick do it and not have to go
Mhm.
get it.
Right, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about, getting on stages and speaking and, who are you trying to reach? Like who can benefit from, what you want to talk about and who you want to help.
Basically, I really want to help and reach women. The age ranges are anywhere from 30 on up.
Mhm.
Seems to be the sweet spot as far as they're open and willing to explore and grow. So that seems to be the fun part. I love working with mothers because I am a
Mm.
mother of four and four grandchildren. So I definitely love going in there and saying, I know it seems very overwhelming and stuff. However, taking care of yourself actually is taking care of your family and kind of working with them to get them to see it and then to start moving into it and options of taking care of yourself both financially and healthy and stuff. So that teaches everybody that they can do it too. So
Love it. And for everyone listening, you're going to hear Rhonda's story next. But in the story, you even talk a little bit about how, your kids are always watching.
always,
I
always.
mean, our habits, our routines. I think about my own mom. I mean, her routines kind of stuck with me. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even go out of the house without makeup on and stuff because she never did. She always had to have her hair done, makeup done. She would not leave that. Nobody saw her that way.
Nope.
And so, I mean, honestly, until we moved to moved to a new city, I didn't do that. And now I'm like, well, nobody knows me anyway, so who cares?
But it's
But you feel
amazing when
better.
you don't do
Yeah,
that, if you don't wash your face or you don't even just do that, not makeup or anything like that.
yeah,
How when I'm out, you tend to want to hide. You don't really want to engage with people. So sometimes I
yep.
think it's a great time. But I will tell you a side story. So my one story did go off and I was very blessed. All of my children watched it, and three of my children are boys. And one of my sons came back to me and he said, he goes, I was listening to you speak, which congratulations and thank you. And it was awesome. However, it made me stop and think, what am I showing my son? And
Oh,
so it was like, oh, yes, that's it. You know, you are, he goes, and you are
yeah,
right. We don't listen to you, but we definitely watch what you're doing. And so
yeah.
that was cool.
I I love that he had that reflection from your talk because that was a lot of the point.
You know,
That the things that we do and what we model for our children and those around us really does matter.
it really does. It does come out in everything. And
Wow.
so that
So
was
let's talk a little bit about your one story then. What was the process like for you, kind of pulling the story out and going through, the whole 6 weeks of coaching to getting on the stage?
thank God for the 6 weeks of coaching and you. Um, it was really cool in the beginning. Obviously, extremely nervous, never have done any of this. And then to have the conversations one-on-one with you where I would just talk and then all of a sudden you would go, oh, I think that is probably the story that you should, it was like, oh, I guess so. Maybe that is, and that was my husband's heart attack.
Yeah,
And it's like, you forget the big things that happen in life. You just kind of move forward. And so it was really cool working with you and zeroing in and digging in. And then the group of women, that was phenomenal. I was lucky to have some that had already done one stories and then
hmm,
some that are brand new. And Monica was amazing. I couldn't believe how she could just stand there and talk. I mean,
yeah,
and sound like, how do you do that? So
right.
I'm like, so that was really, really cool. And it's been really cool looking at all of your win stories and being part of that and how much women are coming forward to empower women and assist and really create a world that we all want to live in. So
I love that.
that's cool.
And what I like is sometimes we're too close to our own stories. Because when you started just kind of talking and you mentioned like, whoa, wait, what? What happened? Because we lived it, right? We were past it. We've moved on and we don't think of it as like this, pivotal moment anymore. So that's why it's fun when people just start talking out loud and it might be something big as a heart attack or it could be somebody scrolling social media where that's their moment. But sometimes you just need another set of ears to hear it and be like, oh I guess that kind of was a big thing. Where you're like, I just pull up, kind of throw them out of the car and like, good luck.
Yeah, that was horrible. My
You
son
know?
came back to me and goes, I totally forgot it was during COVID. I said, I know, right? We couldn't see him at all. And he goes, yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of sucked. So
Yeah.
it also made it unreal and stuff because you
Yeah.
weren't really part of it. Obviously
No,
you couldn't visit him or you couldn't be part of the doctor visits or any of it. So it also made it kind of easy to move on. And plus, it was during Mother's Day in my floral shop. So it was like, are you kidding me? But
times. But you're right. You'd be a little removed from it because you weren't in most times you go with your spouse into the room and you're part of the decisions and all the scary things and.
yes, and you're
Wow.
you're there. So I dropped him off and I didn't see him until after his surgery. And he was obviously totally on meds. So, but
Yeah.
that was the first time that I saw him since I dropped him off. And then I picked him up outside 7 days later and
Wow.
took him home. It's
That
like,
is it's hard to fathom now. I mean, we're really only six, I mean, it's not long. It's only 6 years
right.
from, but think of what people have, wow, it's just wild to me. But
Yeah.
part of your story, though, you talked about, which is where Mary Kay comes in too, is that, building friendships with other women and doing that networking and going to the big events and like, in your story is called The Power of One Yes, so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that was the biggest, besides all the health and everything, the biggest personal is how alone I really was. That, I had a lot of acquaintances, but I haven't really built friendships. And I tended to stay away from women because they just seemed, I don't know. I always kept myself out. It was me doing it. So it was a decision with Mary Kay, the energy and the total openness, they didn't question, they didn't ask. So it was a little safer ground to start exploring that. And now it's been 8 years, and I love getting to know women and sitting down with them and talking to them and getting through their first barriers and becoming that friendship that you can just text me or you can call me and we can go from there. And so that has been life-changing because
That's
that affects
amazing.
everything.
Yeah, because really it was the one time you said yes to go and show up and then just being open, even if it's uncomfortable or you have preconceived notions, because let's face it, we've all been in those like clicky groups where you walk in and you don't feel like you're part of the group or you feel like an outsider or you just don't feel welcome and who wants to go back once you
Mm,
have that experience,
yeah, it makes
you know?
it very difficult. And so with the Mary Kay and everything, and everyone is in such a good mood, our comment is you just leave everything outside that door and you walk
Yeah.
in and it's just time to refresh yourself and just chill, and
Yeah.
everybody needs different things on different days and it's just the environment to do what you need to do.
I love that you found that group and that, it's allowed you to grow so much.
Yes.
Um, so tell me, I'm just curious, I don't know if I've asked you this before, but like, have you had like one tough cookie where you're like, you know, you should really try this, and then they like, no, 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 but then they finally say yes. Have you had one of those like that?
I have had a couple of clients in regard to like being consistent.
Hmm.
I've had clients that, it's always easier on the outside to see in that finally realize that I am a safe friend
Yeah.
and there is no judgment and and stuff. So some catch it really early and then some, it takes a lot more meetings or talks or conversations. So there's been a
Right.
few that is just like, well, I'm not going to give up and I'm here no matter what. I mean, it
Right.
doesn't matter to me if you purchase Mary Kay or not. What really matters is, are you happy with you? And can I just be a friend and
Yeah.
do life?
Awesome. So where can people find more information about you and your business?
And well, I am on Facebook. I do have a website, Mary Kay, stuff, marykay.com/Rhonda Deaver, and you can reach me there. You can reach me via my email, or my phone and stuff. My phone is probably the fastest and quickest way of getting a hold of me, and that's, 414-534-7639. And my email is, what is my email? Rhonda@rockstarmk.com.
Love it. And we'll put those in the show notes too, so it's easy enough for you to click on or reach out and get a hold of Rhonda. So next up, we're going to play the audio of your one story from when Rhonda was live on stage at the Milwaukee Improv. So thank you again for being here, Rhonda.
Thank you so much, Wendy. You have been life-changing in our world over here. So I totally love it and appreciate it and want to keep going.
Oh, awesome. All right, stay tuned. Here's Rhonda's one story.
Your story matters, don't let it fade. When everything changed, you were made.
When everything changed, I remember walking in the front door, looking around at this massive, beautiful renovation we had just completed. Beautiful kitchen, living room, standing in the middle and remembering all of the arguments, all of the fun, all of the love in one house. And then that deep pit in your gut starts creeping up. And it made me realize I'm all alone. I have nobody to call at 3 a.m. See, my husband wasn't feeling right with his heart. Him and the doctor couldn't figure out what was going on, so we just kept living life and everything was good until it wasn't. At 2 a.m., he woke me up. He said, I think I don't feel right. You need to take me to Prater. Alrighty then. So we get ready, we get in the car, and if you've been married or with somebody for a while, you know that tension when you're getting into the unknown. You don't really know what's going to happen, but you know you don't have a choice. So to break that tension, he goes, "You seem to be driving a little fast," which, of course, I replied, "If this is not an emergency, we are turning around and I'm going back to bed." I am not. So we continued, but it broke that tension. Now you have to understand this was during COVID. So all you could do at Freighter was drive up to the emergency room door, look at your loved one, say, "I love you. Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to see you soon. Keep in touch," and kick him out of the door. And he walks out. They hand you a piece of paper that has a phone number on to call if you have any questions. And I remember driving out of there. First of all, can't believe this is happening. Second of all, what am I going to do? And slowly drove home and just kept praying. Turned out it was a good thing that he went to the hospital. The doctors did find a blockage, and they lovingly called it the widowmaker. Thank God that did not happen. And so 7 days later, he was released, and we went back to our busy life. If I would have known then what was going to be coming at us for the next years, I'm pretty sure I would have ran away as fast as I possibly could. So the first life hit was my best friend and business partner, Denise. Cancer ended up taking her, and I couldn't believe I lost one of the dearest and unusual friends that I have ever made in my life. And then life continues. And then all of a sudden, now we're walking alongside my sister-in-law through all her illnesses. And during that time, my mother-in-law passes. So now my husband is driving back and forth between Wisconsin and West Virginia. And I say my husband because I owned an amazing floral studio. If you've ever had a business, you know it's a huge reflection of yourself. And my family would give me such a hard time because we would laugh and call it my child because I started it after my last child flew out of the nest. So it was my fifth child. But the writing was on the wall and on the plates. My time was needed other places. And I couldn't be at the floral studio and help my family. So I made the decision to close the studio. You don't realize how much of your time was spent there. So I wasn't really depressed. I wasn't broken, but I was very depleted. And I just couldn't get over the fact of who was I and what would I do if I didn't help everybody else? And I knew I needed friends. I needed women friends, but I had always stayed away from women because I just never felt like I belonged with them. I have a much more straightforward personality, and women don't tend to appreciate that. So we kind of had this amazing relationship going back and forth. But I knew I needed more people and I needed women because in my life, my grandmother is 104. I predict she'll be 105 in December. She is not rooting for that, by the way. So that leaves me with 40 years on this life, is my prediction. And I definitely don't want to do it alone. So I had joined Mary Kay. And so I joined Mary Kay because from a business perspective, it just made sense. I can get wonderful products at 50% off, and why would I pay 100%? That's silly. So I joined, loved the products, used the products, but with the realization that you really need to figure out these women. You need to become friends. So I started going to their meetings with a little bit more intention, paying attention. I've never walked into a meeting where you were greeted with tambourines. Yay, I'm glad you made it. Great big hugs. I'm not a hugger. So I was like, okay, this is a little to absorb. But I kept going back because they never asked me what I sold. They never asked me what I was doing. They just took me wherever I was that day and celebrated that I was there. So it's like, oh, that's a little different. Then we had an opportunity to go to Madison for a conference. So it's a bigger scale now. I've been to many conferences. I've set up conferences, I've talked at conferences, I've delivered to conferences. So I kind of thought I knew what I was saying yes to. I wasn't. I walked into that room and it was full of pink sparkle. And as you can tell, I am purple sparkle. So at first I was like, okay, well, they'll work together. But the energy in that room was just unbelievable. I mean, you had women that were just thrilled that you said yes and you came. And they celebrated that and introduced themselves. And the stage was set up with Mary Kay's picture and 2 chairs. It was like you just walked into someone's living room, kind of like this stage. So I left there going, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. I've got to figure out I can do this and stuff. So they go back to home and I have to tell you about JJ. I love JJ. So I met JJ in my floral studio. She came in, she obviously had floral needs. So we talked, but do you ever have that conversation with someone and you're like, dang, you just really connect. Like you feel like you know them forever, but you just met them. So we kept doing floral together for quite a few years. And then when I decided I was going to do Mary Kay, she was the first person I thought of because JJ was confident. JJ had a great career. JJ could walk into a room and talk to people. But she also had that small habit of stepping back so someone else could take the center stage. So she kind of just hit herself a little bit. So when I asked JJ if she'd sit down and experience the skincare with me, she lovingly, graciously said no. And I went, oh, JJ. I'm like, okay. So then I came back and I asked again. I was very persistent. And finally, JJ said yes. I was like, yay. So we sat down. Skin sessions are a blast because you just kind of put everything at the door and you just are real to each other. So she tried the skincare and she was shocked. She liked it. And so she had a few areas she wanted to work in. So she did. I said, and if they didn't work, she was going to the doctor. I'm not a big doctor and needle fan. So I'm like, this is going to work. We don't need no needles. So she used it very faithfully, morning and night. And you could slowly see her confidence build. She just, the only word I could come up with is radiate. She had healthy skin. She felt better about herself. The problem areas were diminishing. She was all in. And our relationship just kept blossoming through life, through all the different things. And it made me realize what was happening was every time she washed her face, put on the lotion, she'd look at the mirror and she realized she was taking care of her. She was putting her first. And when we do that, we gain confidence. She was gaining confidence. And it was like, it was amazing. So I kept experiencing with other people and other clients. And what I realized is I was playing small. And then in the bigger picture, I have 4 children. I don't know about your kids, but my kids don't necessarily like listening to me, but they love copying what I do. So when I was playing small, they were learning to play small. And that broke my heart when I realized that. It's like, okay, something's got to change. And since we all know the mom of the family, we are the change makers. We are the ones that keep moving, keep things moving. So I'm on a stage now. But anyway, we sidetrack. And once I realized that, I really wanted to start reaching out to a bigger audience and women and talking and getting them to see. Because when you ask a lady, would you like to sit down for skincare? The common response that you get is, no, I'm too busy. Does that mean you're too busy for yourself? What are you doing for yourself? So I sit down with mothers, newbies. Tori was the last one. And we were talking, and she has an 11-year-old and a cutest 2-year-old. And we were talking about the son. He's 11 years old now, remember. So I don't know if you have any experience with 11-year-old boys. They don't like the bathroom. They don't like to shower. They're not going to brush their teeth. And they reek to high heaven. And you're like, I love you to death, but we need to learn the bathroom. So I asked Tori, do you brush your teeth? Do you wash your face? And then she kind of looked at me and it's like, that's exactly where I'm going. If you don't do it, they're not going to do it. And in a bigger scale, if you don't stand and start stepping out and yourself, the people watching you aren't going to do it either. So you start small. You start with washing your face in the morning, brushing your teeth, putting on your lotion, and looking in that mirror and realizing you are important. You are somebody, and we want to hear from you. So I decided to do life with people. I decided to create, through my skincare, an army of women that we are bound together just to support one another, to enjoy each other's company, to hold each other through all the crap that life likes to throw at you, and to celebrate all of the wins that we get to experience with our families and our friends. And that is why I said yes when I went to Legendary with women. And that is why I have been working with Kate so I could actually get on this stage and not be in the background anymore and say, we women are extremely powerful. And if you've heard anything that I said, if it resonates in any way with you, I would love to have a conversation and see if we can get these army of women to join hands and really show this world what we are meant to show them.
Your story matters, don't